first things I want to grab is this new bitter melon the new variety I'm trying this year. There's a couple small ones down in the back, so I'm just going to grab a small one. And as we make our way to the back, we got some Bodhi, so I'm going to pick just a couple of these. And over here we got, well, a lot of people call it Jamaican callaloo. We know it as chorai, so I'm going to pick some of this. I already picked some last night, but I'm going to pick some more of that. Of course, we need a bit of herbs in there, so we're going to grab some thyme, and I want a bit of this celery leaves and the stalk and everything else as we make our way down the back. And the whole idea is to use whatever I have here in the garden in the fried rice, right? What I have down here is some pimento peppers, so I'm going to grab one of those. They're not fully mature yet. And what I want, it may seem a little strange, but this is all my hot peppers here. Oh look, we got same or hyacinth beans there. So small thing. I want to grab a half-ripe tomato to put in there. So the whole idea is to use as much as I can from the garden. I may even grab some chive from back here. Some of this chive. I'm gonna finish it off with some chive. Yeah, so the whole idea is to use whatever I can find in the backyard here in the fried rice. Yo, just about every summer I try to make one of these sort of anything I can find in the garden fried rice. And what I have is some leftover rice from a couple nights ago that was in the fridge. It's about 3 cups of cooked rice, and it was cooked in salted water. It's important that, and we've talked about this. I've shared many fried rice videos and recipes on both youtube.com and caribbeanpot.com. I'm youtube.com/caribbeanpot, my main channel. So chilled rice gives you a grainy fried rice. Here's that pimento pepper sliced up, fresh thyme. This is the bitter melon, a small one. All I did was I chopped it up into small pieces. I removed the seeds and the inside parts. Celery, the leaves and the stalk. This is the Jamaican callaloo or chorai bhaji. What I did was I also want to use the stems, but since the stems is a bit more woody, when I say woody, it's a bit more, it takes a bit longer to cook. I separated it, so I'm going to start with that. Some sesame oil, the chives, onion, the tomato. Yeah, I know earlier I said I was going to use a half-ripe tomato. This is a fully ripe tomato because they were starting to go bad, and I just want to use them. If you wanted to add anything else in your garden, you can certainly do that. Here I have some garlic, the bora or Bodhi or yard bean. So many different names. Light soy sauce and some oyster sauce. If you're making this fully vegan, you don't need the oyster sauce. I would say to add a bit of grated ginger in there for extra flavor, bell peppers, all those different things you can add, whatever you have in season in the garden, In my wok, I'm gonna go in with a tablespoon of vegetable oil, and I'm gonna have the heat on medium-high. Onion, the stems of the Jamaican callaloo, Bodhi. And if you notice, I'm using all these sort of tough ingredients first. I started with the onion, and the oil wasn't as hot as I would like it to be, but small thing, we ain't gonna stress about that. If you're adding ginger, you can add the ginger here as well, because I find the ginger and the hot oil is kind of fragrant, makes everything nice and fragrant. If you're using the bitter melon, I would also add it at this point. Stir to move it around. I'm using a wok. You can use a frying pan. That's totally up to you. Some fresh ground black pepper. I know a lot of people, when they make fried rice, they prefer using white pepper. I am not a fan of white pepper at all. I don't like the smell. You get a sort of a barn sort of smell, sort of flavor out of it. Really not for me. Yeah? So I'm just going to give that about another minute. For flavor, we've got that chopped up pimento pepper, and if you have a ripe pimento pepper, you can go ahead and use that. I'm also going to go in with the chives that we harvested out back. I also want the fresh thyme, just the leaves, yeah? Give that another quick stir. You can see some of the edges are picking up a nice golden color, and that's why we started with it first. And speaking about starting with it first, I want that the garlic flavor to be pronounced, but because we have a lot of things going on in there, it means it won't burn. You don't want to burn the garlic. So let's be mindful of the little things that would kind of ruin the dish. If you wanted to add eggs in here, you can do that. I am not a fan of eggs in fried rice. I'll be honest with you, the only thing I like eggs in: ice cream, cake, and breakfast, scrambled, easy over, quiche, all those different things. But that's all we have going on here at the moment. To further add fragrance, I'm going in with that sesame oil, and I have a toasted sesame oil. Whatever sesame oil you have on hand, you can use. And in my humble opinion, you don't need a lot when it comes to the sesame oil. Some people go overboard with the sesame oil. Not for me. I just like it like that. All of my bhaji, yeah, we call the Jamaican callaloo, we call it chorai bhaji, which means it's a green. And I'm adding it now to be able to hit them a little fast, just to warm through a bit. And that has been washed and chopped and everything else. I don't know if I mentioned that. And one of the key things I tell people when making a fried rice or any sort of stir fry and stuff like that, prep the ingredients in advance, because this will go really quickly. It's time to add all of that rice in there now, along with the celery, light soy sauce, and the oyster sauce. Give that a mix. I'm just gonna press on the and this is not like your typical fried rice. You will notice that. I'm just gonna turn my heat up just a tiny bit. I don't want it to sweat and create too much moisture. I just want to heat things through now, get all those flavors together. And the soy sauce in my case here, because you know I've told you guys, I've mentioned this quite a few times, I'm purposely trying to cut back on the amount of salt in my diet. So I'm not gonna add any salt to this, is essentially what I'm saying. I just want this to heat through. But if you know or you taste it, in about 2 minutes you can taste it. If you want to adjust the salt, you can go ahead and do that. The oyster sauce will have a sort of a sodium element to it. The soy sauce will have that sodium element to it, and the rice was cooked in salted water. As I said, the last thing to go in will be the tomato, but I want that to keep its freshness and brightness and everything else. So once I turn off the stove, I'm going to add the tomato, I'm going to toss it, and we're done. In under 10 minutes, I'd say, you have a beautiful garden-inspired fried rice. Now, if you wanted this to be a bit darker, I know some people would prefer the fried rice a bit darker. You can go with dark soy sauce instead of the light soy sauce, or you can do a combination. It's totally up to you. I'm cool with the color of this. I'm not too worried about how pale it is, whether it needs a tan or not, but the point is, I'm cool with it as it is. In goes the tomato. And not only is that tomato going to add texture and sweetness, there's also an acid component to it, because tomatoes, let's face it, has a bit of acidity to it. I'm going to turn off my stove now, and I am good with it as it is. I'm just going to toss that. Let the residual heat warm through the tomato. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. We just went in the garden. We harvested whatever was out there. Some leftover rice in the fridge. And I'm telling you, this is a kicking lunch for about 2 or 3 people. Yeah, we need to stop eating like if food going out of style. And sometimes we eat too much. People, we getting overweight and all kind of things like that. Pay mind to it, alright? Go on.